Hi, I'm Catherine Brinkley. I'm the Faculty Director of the Center for Regional Change at the University of California, Davis. And my colleague?
Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Boswell, Professor of City and Regional Planning at California Polytechnic State University in San Luis Obispo.
We're here to talk to you today about planning in California and to present some new tools that can help you get started. The work we're going to share with you today is supported by the California Air Resources Board. The tool that I'm going to present will allow you to search across all 482 city and 58 county general plans in California. Then Professor Boswell is going to demo a new tool that focuses on climate action plans in California. Both of these tools are novel. No other state has a search engine for their plans. And in acknowledgement of this effort, the California American Planning Association awarded us the Academic Excellence Award. We're very grateful for their support in this work. So why get involved in planning? And why right now? Well, your local jurisdiction needs to update its plan every 3 to 5 years to address important concerns and changing local conditions. And right now, more than half of California's city and county general plans are older than this. So it's a great time to get involved in thinking about how you want to reshape your community. General plans are required to address a variety of topics. These are also called chapters or elements. So for example, general plans need to address housing to ensure there's enough housing and enough affordable housing. They also address transportation, which is called circulation, open space, planning for parks and conservation, and air quality in the Central Valley. Recently, a mandate by the state to address environmental justice. And this policy is meant to ensure that new development doesn't burden already disadvantaged communities. So as plans are updated, they will also need to address environmental justice in their updates. With the search engine that we're providing, we hope that communities will be able to glean ideas. Environmental justice is a new topic for many jurisdictions. How have other cities or counties addressed this? Now you can easily search across plans and find out. Bring that information back to your local jurisdiction for further discussion, and then see if you can do something a little bit better. We also hope that this tool will benefit researchers who can now extract a lot of text from plans to think about how communities are planning for their future, where there will be new housing and what type of housing, for example. This tool is also meant for educators who are working with high school or college, even middle school students, to help students understand how civic engagement works. And last, we hope that it will help public agencies who seek to benchmark progress on a variety of different state goals, from climate planning to housing. The database right now covers over 1,000 plans, and within those plans, 82 million words. Each plan can be several hundred pages. So having a search engine will help you rapidly locate policies of interest. This is what the interface looks like. So you can type in a single word, such as climate or decarbonization, or you can type in a string of words like environmental justice in the example here. You will pull up a map of cities in orange and counties in blue where this term is addressed. And you can quickly see how many cities and how many counties in California are thinking about this term. If you're interested in pulling out all of the policies related, you can also read the plans. And we've done this in a publication below in the Journal of the American Planning Association, focusing specifically on environmental justice, where we found over 628 discrete policies in just 7 plans that mention this topic the most. So lots of ideas. As I mentioned, you can navigate to the table below the map, and this will show you the name of the city or jurisdiction, the year that the plan was created, adopted, the population, so maybe you're interested in how large cities are doing something versus small cities, the county. Maybe you're interested in how all cities in Los Angeles County are addressing a particular topic. You can also look at the number of times that the term is mentioned, and you can pull up a PDF as well as the extracted text if you're interested in further text analysis. When you click on the PDF function, you'll pull up the PDF of the plan, and it will highlight everywhere that the term is mentioned in the plan, and then you can navigate across that PDF to see how your term of interest is addressed in policy. So just a few words as you're thinking about policies that you might want to see implemented in your home jurisdiction. Strong policy language will include words like will and shall, committing the local jurisdiction to action, as opposed to may. Strong policy will also include a timeline for implementation so that you have a benchmark for elected officials. Funding can be identified. There are a variety of grants available at the state and federal level, as well as local measures that can be taken to fund changes that need to be funded. Strong policy will also commit staff or personnel, particular departments, to work on making sure that that policy is implemented. And then, most importantly, strong policy will also include an equity focus to ensure that disadvantaged community members are not further burdened by the policy within the plan. And now I'll turn it over to Professor Boswell to demo the California Climate Action Plan database.
Thank you, Dr. Brinkley. I'm happy to talk about the California Climate Action Planning database. But to get started, let's talk about what is a climate action plan. These are strategic plans, and by that we mean very specifically focused that address climate change by doing one of two things: analyzing and developing policy for how the community can reduce its greenhouse gas emissions, often called mitigation. And secondly, to figure out how the community can analyze and adopt policy that will increase the community's resilience to the impacts of climate change, also called adaptation. Increasingly, these plans now address both sides of the climate equation, both reducing emissions and mitigating or adapting to the expected impacts of climate change. Next slide. To support this work in California communities on climate action plans, we have developed the Climate Action Plan database for California. This is maintained by myself and my colleague, Dr. Grieve at Cal Poly. Our most recent update of the database is January 1, 2023. It currently includes 253 city and county climate action plans. You can see the link there that will take you to a landing page to access a variety of sources, or a variety of types of information, and I'll mention three. One is the database itself, which is an Excel spreadsheet that has every city and county in California. It has the status of their climate action plan and some additional data, which I'll show you in just a moment. Secondly, there's a climate action plan library. One of the challenges that we have noted is that oftentimes it's difficult to find the climate action plan at a city or county website. Some are difficult to find, some don't seem to be posted at all. And so what we did is pulled all of the PDFs, all the copies of the climate action plans, and put them in one place. So it's one-stop shopping. You don't have to go looking for the jurisdiction. You can find them all right here in the CAP library. And then finally, we also include periodic reports that describe the database and information that's in the database. And we produce those a few times a year. Next slide. Some of the data that you will find within the spreadsheet database is for every city and county, you'll see the status, whether they have completed a climate action plan, or perhaps they have a draft or in progress, or they've not done a climate action plan. It's important to note that in California, climate action plans are not required by law. So cities and counties don't have to have one, although there are a number of reasons and certainly incentives for communities to do them. And it's why so many communities in California have chosen to do them. So in addition to the status, you'll see things like the title, the date the plan was adopted, the links to the city or county website that has the plan and often additional information, by the way, beyond just the plan. There'll be information on the greenhouse gas emission goals or targets for the community. There'll be information on base year greenhouse gas emissions inventory data, whether they're CEQA qualified, and there are other things forthcoming. So we're working on several improvements to the database, and we hope to produce a new version of the database at least once a year. Next slide. Let me just share with you a few things that are within the database that tell us a little bit of something about how we're doing in California on climate action planning. If you think about coverage, you can see a map here showing cities and counties that have a climate action plan. It's 22 of 58 counties, or 38%, and 231 of 482 cities have climate action plans. So about half the communities in California have a climate action plan. If you look at the size of these communities, the ones that have a cap tend to be larger. They're usually more urban as well. The ones that do not tend to be smaller and more rural. You can also see that in the map as well. Given that most of the larger communities in California have done a climate action plan, even though it's only about half of the jurisdictions, it works out to about 3/4 of the population of California is living in a community that's covered by a climate action plan. Another good piece of information we have in the database is the date that the plan was completed or adopted. So you can see that here in the chart. You can see there's quite a few older plans. The median year is about 2016, so about half of the climate action plans in California have been completed 2016 or later. Next slide. There is some concern about the overall age of climate action plans in California. There's been a number of key activities. I'm just showing here a couple of SB 32 legislation and an executive order that established our initial climate neutrality target. And you can see that most plans in California are predating these and other key pieces of recent legislation. So next slide. So we have several concerns that's come out of our analysis of what is in these climate action plans. The first, based on this date of adoption information, is that many of the plans, over half in California, we would consider to be outdated and need to be updated to include in particular a post-2020 greenhouse gas emissions reduction target. Secondly, we did some searching within the plans looking for the presence of critical policy areas. We did more than this, but I've chosen a select few. And you can see that for things like heat pump and energy storage and equity or justice issues, many, if not most, of the climate action plans don't say anything about these. And we know these are important policy areas. So another piece of evidence that these plans might be out of date or not as comprehensive as we would expect them to be. We've also done a bit of research by sampling some of the climate action plans to look at how much detail is included in implementation, the kinds of things that Dr. Brinkley mentioned earlier that constitute good policy, issues around funding and how it will be implemented. And we found that many plans have minimal detail here and are lacking. Next slide. So thank you for listening to our presentation on climate action plans and general plans. If you use the Climate Action Plan database, please let us know if there are any errors in emissions that you spot. But another useful thing for us is if you let us know what you would like to see added to or enhanced in our climate action database that would help you do your work. We're continually looking to improve. Now I'll turn it over to Dr. Brinkley for some final words.
Thank you, Professor Boswell. We hope that these tools will be helpful to you as you consider how your local community is planning to tackle a variety of different interrelated issues, from transportation to housing to climate readiness for disasters and preparedness. So with that, any advice to folks who are thinking about jumping in, Professor Boswell?
Use our tools to do your homework and find out what your neighboring communities and other leading communities are doing. There's a lot of good tested ideas out there, and so you don't have to completely reinvent the wheel. So we hope our tool will be useful for you in constructing your own general plans or evaluating your own general plans and climate action plans.
Thank you for joining us today.